Hello, BYU Cougar fans. Welcome to the Blue Cougar Football post-game podcast for Middle Tennessee State. It was a great 37-10 win for BYU, and we should have our spirits back up, be feeling good. I'm not saying we just beat the number one team, but we should be happy. It's a win, and was a solid win, especially considering all the shooting in the foot that we did to ourselves. To still come out on top with a 27-point win without really scoring at all in the fourth quarter. That's pretty good. A couple of things that impressed me, or things that stood out that didn't fit into any of the other reports. First, that Middle Tennessee running back, he was quick. He was a quick back. Looked really fast, but our defense did well against him. They did well. They held him to just 40 yards on 10 carries. I was surprised to see that on the stat sheet, because I got a little worried every time he got the ball and he started running, and he got up to speed very fast. But the defense did well, played their assignments, closed any gaps that he might have saw, and that was it. So we did well to overcome the slow start, I guess you can say, letting them have that big kickoff return and then go down and score that field goal, and overcame our own troubles. We had that nice return by Hine to set up the touchdown to put us back on top, but then we turned the ball over twice right by the goal line. It was getting scary there for a minute. It started to look like Utah from 2 years ago all over again, where we were driving the ball and we could move the ball, but we just turned the ball over. And that really, instead of getting points, put us at a disadvantage, and Utah eventually came around. And if it wasn't for that safety, Kyle Van Noy, then Middle Tennessee might have just done the same thing. I mean, that's how upsets happen with teams like this, because let's keep in mind, this was, they might say Conference USA on their uniforms now, but it's their first year. They really are still a Sun Belt team. I don't like to play the card of this conference is inferior to another conference or whatever, but the one that you can honestly say there's a real separation where they really don't belong with the rest of college football, that was the Sun Belt Conference. And their conference champion would lose to Florida by 50 points in the preseason, but then they'd go on and win 8 games and go to their bowl game, and so there was definitely a disconnect in that regard. So this was a Sun Belt team we were playing, and the only way they could beat us is if we beat ourselves. Thankfully, we didn't do that. We managed to stop turning the ball over, and really in the end it was 5 turnovers, but 2 of those were on the punts. Those muffed punts by J.D. Falslev, which that just doesn't happen. That's really an anomaly, especially that second one. Falstaff doesn't screw up on that second one if he hasn't returned that punt for a touchdown earlier in the game. He was full of confidence, really overconfident, and because he had that punt return, that touchdown, plus a couple other good ones, so he was really feeling it, and his ego was telling him that you can get it, and you can get 15, 20, maybe even another touchdown. So that's what happened on that one. And so 3 turnovers. Still, you don't want to have those, especially down by the goal line. You just don't do that. You just don't do that and expect to win games. So thankfully it was against this inferior team, and hopefully it's out of our system now. The defense, they played great. Not so great if you look at the third down stats. As I remember throughout the game, Middle Tennessee seemed to be hovering around 50%, at least for the whole first half. But at the end of the day, they only had barely over 200 yards of total offense. 212 if I'm not mistaken. 107 rushing, I think, and 105 passing, or else the other way around. And that's pretty dang good. Sure, it'd be nice to have less than 100 yards rushing, but, it is what it is at the end of the day, and 212 is better than 230 with less than 100 yards rushing. Alright, I hope we can all rest a little bit easier about Taysom Hill and his ability to throw the ball. He was accurate. He connected with his guys. Obviously, over 70% completion. Started the game 8 of 9 in the whole first half. First 8 passes were completions. But the one that I was impressed with the most came late in the game, in the fourth quarter. Hill throws a 30-yard out to Mitch Matthews. He stood in the pocket and he threw that ball on a rope to Mitch Matthews, 30 yards past the line of scrimmage on the sideline. That was an amazing throw. It takes an incredible arm to do that. And so because Taysom Hill can really run the ball so well, make up for some of anything he's lacking as far as consistency throwing the ball, he's worth having as a starting quarterback, because I really believe he can develop and become consistent and make these kind of throws all the time. And that's just going to be scary for teams, to know that Hill can either sit back there and throw these passes that you shouldn't be able to throw, that 90% of the quarterbacks in college football can't throw, or he'll run like 95% of quarterbacks in college can't run. Now, a few other players I want to highlight for their game. Ross Apo, good for him. The stats aren't fabulous, but he was a different player. Stepped up with Hoffman gone, especially early in the game, to help the passing game have some sort of presence. And he was playing tough. He was playing involved, and that was nice to see. That was really nice to see. Adam Hine, loved having him finally get a big return, and it was a big one. It wasn't just a 50-yarder, but it was a 90-yarder. So that was really nice for him. Very sad to see him, have a -4 rush when it should have been his day to really get involved in the running game, and then get taken out of the game with a concussion trying to block for Lasike. That's just some tough luck. I mean, that kid's had a lot of tough luck since he came here to BYU. And it's really sad. Not just because, I mean, it'd be sad for anybody, but to see the talent that he has and the capabilities, that's just sad that he can't catch more of a break. And one final player, Daniel Sorensen. Love that interception in the end zone to make up for that, to get the ball back after the interception that bounced off of Lasike's shoulders. I mean, and that just shows Daniel Sorensen, he has really had a nice career. We're not going to remember him for having superhuman stats like Andrew Rich did 3 years ago, playing that position. But Sorensen, he has gotten better every year, and he's made so many just really good key plays over the years. And that's the thing, he's done it quietly and without a whole ton of notice. I remember 2 years ago I was kind of a little sour because he got burned 2 times for really big passes, and so it kind of had me questionable about him, but he has definitely made up for that and more. He's really done a lot of nice things throughout his career, and I hope we remember him well, and that he gets a good fair shot in the NFL if that's what he's looking for. Well, that's all I've got for this game. As far as podcast goes, check out the other coverage. Go to the game analysis page, and you'll find links to all the game stories that we have. And go Cougars. Can't wait for Friday night. Aggies.